Palestinian Talmud was written at around 200, and by 600, that was the completion of the Babylonian Talmud. And this is basically the anti-theology based on rejection of Logos. It would be sort of the opposite of the Gospels, of the Scriptures.
Now, the Scriptures, when we say the Scriptures, we mean the Old Testament and the New Testament, correct?
Right. What I'm saying here is, just to avoid confusion, that the straight line in history is Abraham, Moses, Jesus Christ, the church. The church is the new Israel. The Gospel of St. John goes into very great detail about who are the children of Moses. Okay, the Jews come to Jesus Christ and say, we're the children of Moses, and he says, no, you can't be a child of Moses and reject me. And it gets, they go back and forth, and finally there's this big blow-up in the middle where Jesus turns to the Jews and says, your father is Satan. And this is sort of the point of departure. This is sort of the broken line in history. The people who call themselves Jews are not the children of Moses anymore. Children of Moses are the followers of Jesus Christ. It is not, this is a break with the whole racial history of the chosen people. And throughout the Gospel of St. John, you realize that the word Jew takes on a new meaning. It didn't have one that it didn't have at the beginning. There's a crucial passage in the Gospel of St. John where there was a man who was born blind. He was given his sight by Jesus Christ. And everybody heard about it, and they all rushed to the parents of the man born blind and asked if he really was born blind. And the parents got nervous. They got upset. And there's this line in the Gospel of St. John that says, the parents of the man born blind refused to speak out of fear of the Jews, because the Jews threatened to expel from the synagogue anyone who said that Jesus was the Messiah. Well, what does Jew mean here? It can't have a racial meaning. Everybody was a Jew in this world that we're talking about. So Jew at this point, you begin to realize, means someone who has rejected Christ. And that is the meaning that has taken on ever since that time.
Okay, so what happened to the Jew in the last 2,000 years? Now, we know after the destruction of the temple by the Romans, I think, what was it, 70 or 90 A.D.?
No, that was the first major event after the death of Christ.
Okay.
In other words, the Jews, they chose revolution. And that's exactly what they did. They rose up in 70 A.D., they rose up against the Roman Empire. And they were crushed, and the temple was destroyed. Now, at that point, the Jew has to create a new religion. Okay? There's no way that he can fulfill the old law anymore. He doesn't have a temple, he doesn't have a priesthood, he doesn't have animal sacrifice. And so there was a Jew in Jerusalem at that time by the name of Yochanan ben Zakkai, who saw which way it was going, had himself smuggled out of the city in a shroud, went to Titus and said, I'm a friend of Rome, grant me a favor, I'd like to start a school. And so Titus granted him that favor, and he founded this school at Yavna. And that was the beginning of Judaism as we know it. It had become a debating society, focused on the synagogue, not the temple. There was no temple anymore. There could be no sacrifice. There could be no religion. The only religion now that had a temple, had a priesthood, and had a sacrifice was Christianity. And so the Jews have a new religion, and their new religion eventually, as I said, becomes a religion of rejection, as epitomized by the Talmud. It becomes a way of keeping the Jewish people in bondage by keeping them away from the truth. That's pretty much what the Talmud is.